Ain't nothing peculiar about the way that I was raised, and my heart is on the way.
There's some new controversy surrounding the death of Chris Skinner. He was a local inspirational speaker who was quadriplegic and died in his neighborhood pool in Horry County back in 2021. Now, a petition circulating online challenges the county chief deputy coroner's handling of that investigation into Skinner's death. And tonight, I hear from both sides of the issue.
That's kind of where, and I, like I said to you, I had not seen the video until this week when we reopened the case. The detective, after he got to the hospital, obviously waiting for her to decide on organ donation or not. But by the time I was notified by the hospital, see, they don't notify me until the death occurs. Mm-hmm. So it was, and I was on a death at that time, so it was hours even after they called me that I even got to the hospital. So by then, and I spoke to the detective, she had seen the video, she had spoken to everyone, and she gave me her rundown of what had taken place. So I didn't see the video until this week. And what I've seen is what Detective Vogel is talking about, and that's just that little time. So we do have to go back and see if we can piece together anything more than what that little snippet of video that we have access to right now. Which is only, and if you've seen the rest of it, only where he's sitting and then when he goes into the pool. And quite frankly, I'm shocked the dog didn't go in after him.
Mica.
That was, when I watched it, I held my breath. Because that was...
She might have, but she would swam over and...
No, she didn't go in though. She was in the grassy area.
She didn't go in, but I waited for her to go in.
She was his service dog.
I know.
She stayed on his lap or with him all the time.
Yeah.
Is she okay?
She is.
Two things that stand out about this clip. Horry County Chief Deputy Coroner reviewed the pool footage for the first time in January 2025, and she ruled on information relayed to her by a detective, Saud. So she didn't even state that she even did a actual investigation, that she did not look at the footage back when Chris's accident happened or something more sinister happened. And she didn't review it. She didn't talk to any other family member. She just went off of what Susie said on story one. Because remember, Susie has more than one story of events that happened that day. And she failed to watch the footage, to interview more people, to report a vulnerable adult to SLED within 24 hours and do an autopsy. The Chief Deputy Coroner's statement to the family about the concerns on whether the dog would jump into the pool. She states, I held my breath while watching, thinking the dog might jump in. Like the dog doesn't know how to swim and hold its own breath and stuff. You're more concerned about the dog. I love dogs too, but still, you're more concerned about the dog that can swim and get out on its free will. You're more concerned about that than a man that is underwater drowning and losing his life. The video of Chris Skinner's drowning and her concern and empathy towards the dog, not that she was watching Chris Skinner drown. She's watching another human being, and not just any human being, a vulnerable adult. And her concern is not for Chris. Her concern is elsewhere. And not the family, not his children, not anything else in this world mattered but that dog jumping in and her holding her breath. Nothing else in this world mattered except, I mean, come on now, woman. This is a vulnerable adult quadriplegic man, and you don't give two craps about the family and how they're feeling.
And Trish Williford, a recently created petition calls for the removal of one longtime Horry County deputy coroner claiming misconduct in 2 separate cases.
New at 11, News 13's Adriana Lawrence sat down with that deputy coroner who says she feels she did nothing wrong.
A petition which already received 1,100 signatures was recently created by a supporter of Chris Skinner and Scott Spivey's family. The families have questioned the investigations into the deaths of their loved ones. Skinner's family said while they had nothing to do with the petition, they support getting what they call justice.
I think that it's empowering, but I also think it's sad. I think it's sad that 2 people have lost their lives and that there has been injustice done to both.
On September 9th, 2023, authorities said a deadly road rage shooting along Highway 9 and Camp Swamp Road led to the death of Scott Spivey. Horry County Police said the accused gunman, Weldon Boyd, acted in self-defense and was never charged. The Attorney General's office also declined to prosecute, citing insufficient evidence. Since then, Spivey's family accused one of Horry County's top police officials and a friend of Boyd's with tampering with the case. Authorities said the night of the shooting, Spivey's body was left in his truck and towed to the county police department in Conway. The coroner's office said while it's rare, it was a collective decision by the coroner's office to move the scene to avoid an incoming rainstorm and help keep officers safe from a busy road. The petition accuses the coroner's office of leaving Spivey's body inside his vehicle for 6 hours in the late summer heat, but Chief Deputy Coroner Tamra WilLARD says she's not sure that's true, but added she was out of town the day of the shooting. I guess talk about what happens to the body within that 6 hours. And
I don't know that that's accurate. We're not going to answer to that because I don't think that's accurate.
The other case dates back to September 6, 2021, when Chris Skinner, a quadriplegic man, drowned in his neighborhood pool. Video shows he was underwater for about 40 minutes before first responders pulled him out. Police questioned Skinner's wife at the time, Susie, who claimed Skinner was not suicidal and his death was ruled an accident. Since then, accusations have swirled claiming Susie had an affair before Skinner's death with Myrtle Beach pastor John Paul Miller, and Skinner was having suicidal thoughts. Miller has also been under scrutiny since his wife Mica's suicide in April 2024, many claiming Miller was abusive towards Mica and also drove her to her death. He's now under investigation by the FBI. Because of these ties, Skinner's sister Tamra McDermott questioned her brother's death and inconsistencies in police and coroner reports.
I was not notified about Chris Skinner's death until several hours after this incident occurred because, again, I'm notified. We are notified by the hospital when a death occurs at the hospital, and he was pulled from that pool and taken to Grand Strand Hospital and lived on life support for several hours.
The coroner's office reopened his case earlier this year, but said no one had any questions about Skinner's cause or manner of death based on the information given by Skinner's wife. McDermott said the coroner's office did not do its own investigation before determining a cause of death, but WilLARD said they trusted the word of the detectives on scene, the hospital, and her own conversation with Susie. McDermott said since the reopening of the case, she feels misled and deceived by WilLARD.
She did tell me she was going to wrap everything up in mid-February. She was going to have the manner of death changed, and she was going to have Susie Skinner charged. And those were her words, not my words.
McDermott said during a February interview with Susie, key questions were not asked as promised by WilLARD.
She was going to ask Susie, did the 2 of them in their alleged affair cause my brother to potentially do what he did? That question was never asked in Susie's interview, as well as she was going to ask Susie why she told the police in 2021 that no family, that Susie said at the scene that no family lived in town. She told me she was going to ask her that, and it was not done.
McDermott said outside of the petition, she plans to take other steps to hold WilLARD accountable.
They can say whatever they want. There's not much we can do to stop them. All we can do is just continue to do the best job that we can. The community knows it. We'll be fine.
Now, WilLARD said the FBI has been reviewing Skinner's case since March.
Surely you don't want anyone to find out the things that you have done. Surely.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if today's your birthday, happy birthday!